All right, guys. Today I am here with Gwyn Morgan and Grant. Grant or Grant?
Grant.
Grant.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Aussie, mate.
Grant.
Aussie.
It's Grant if you're from
Aussie,
South Australia.
Yeah.
and Grant Salter from Gripshiftslide. I'm glad I could pronounce that properly. I'm so used to seeing your logo and what you guys do, but I don't think I've said your business name out loud too many
You can
times.
blame Gwyn for that one, mate.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Gripshiftslide.
Slip, slop, slap.
Yeah. Gwyn, I was actually on your Facebook this morning and I saw some other companies out there with like similar names and stuff. I love that. And then I think we were both tagged in something that Maddie put up from Downshift where
Yeah, Alibaba or something.
yeah, Alibaba in China had a sticker pack.
Yeah, instant rep sticker pack.
And it was like $4 for a bunch of stickers. It's like, how could we compete with that?
No, not at all.
But I saw your sticker there and a couple of our, it sort of reminded me of you guys. And also like, it just really reminded me of good times that we had what feels like all those years ago.
Well, it is. It's 10 years now.
I'm glad someone's counting, man, because
Yeah.
I'm really bad with numbers.
Yeah. No,
But
it's
was
10.
that 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we kind of like would have started at the same time then, like with ZEN and Gripshift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around 2011.
That's exactly when we opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we were late to like the World Time Attack thing, and that's kind of what kicked us off. We were like up at World Time Attack going, why are we doing this? We've come up from Melbourne. Let's make a website.
Yeah.
So
Geez, that would have blown your mind.
it
Time
was
Attack.
huge. Well, we got there the first time, especially myself, because Grant was always a camera guy, so I was late to that party as well. So I bought like SLR kit lenses and stuff. We went up to Time Attack, and for some reason we applied for media, got it,
Yeah.
and
Out of
like
the blue.
we're talking with guys, and they're like, yeah, no, last year there was a whole bunch of guys up here who'd never done media photography before on the track with kit lenses running across the track and stuff. I'm like hiding my camera lens, going, oh no, that's terrible, man. But I mean, that's how we started. That's how we found our feet and kept going with it. So 10 years later.
That's awesome, man. And were you guys mates beforehand? Before, and through cars as well? Or
Cars was later.
Yeah. Cars was later. We met on a bus pretty much.
Yeah, it was.
no way.
We grew up on the same street, and we didn't know each other. And he'd always see me. I always see him. He was the kid with cool big pants, and I had the big headphones. And we met through a mutual friend later, and we're like, "Hey, you're the bus guy. You've got the big pants. You got the big headphones."
Yeah.
And then
No way. How trippy.
Pretty much.
That's pretty cool. And so how did you guys actually decide to start Gripshift together? Like, what was it? I mean, obviously you went to Time Attack together, but was it because at that time there were so many people that seemed to be starting blogs and starting things?
I think it was the big jump off of the blog sphere kind of thing. Everyone had started a blog. There was no big socials back then.
Yeah.
And it was the only place we were seeing content apart from like forums.
Right.
So
forums was still kind of working then. Yeah.
I think we were like fanboying over Speed Hunters, and it was like such a mind-blowing thing, this cool website of all this culture. And then we started our thing. And then I think literally afterwards, it's like we did it and started it, and then market research afterwards, unfortunately, we're like, there's a lot of blogs starting, like, oops. And like every man and his dog had a website starting. So I think we got in kind of at the right time, but afterwards we realized how many popped up at that same time, and some just aren't around anymore. They all
many are gone.
Yeah, but that's a fair call, right? Like when it's so easy to publish these days, it's not about just starting something. You know, I suppose like that whole finding out who's actually legitimately passionate about something, or whether it's just because they're jumping on some sort of bandwagon, right? So that's why, like, part of the reason why I've reached out to you guys is you're still there.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I hate social media, I've always hated it. I'm still on it, and it's nice to see your content. Like, it's just pretty much every time I look at Instagram, I see your work. On your Gripshift. And I only had a look at your stats today, and you don't have as many followers as I thought you would have by now, considering how much content you guys do.
Yeah.
I had a look for your website, and that's a coming soon thing.
Being
Part of
repaired,
it,
let's call.
well, I was about to say, like, websites aren't. I mean, I actually wonder how many people still visit Speed Hunters. I mean, I know that was the world's biggest car
Yeah.
blog.
Yeah.
10 years ago, but like I don't know
Well,
where they would be at today.
I think they're publishing less articles now because they went really hard when the Facebook reach dropped, and they were trying to get people across the website. And every day it seemed like there was a new article, but now I feel like it's just constantly on Facebook pointing to old articles. Doesn't seem to be as much new content.
And when Larry left, they started opening it up a bit to other creators to try and get people from the internet to submit stuff so they wouldn't have to go out and do it themselves.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they just edit content and just throw it up quickly.
Yeah. I think, because there was one where they actually had press photos with Speed Hunters logo put on, and like they were press photos I'd seen elsewhere, and like that was a huge thing for me because we always looked up to Speed Hunters because it was always original content, and for the most part it is. But this was just this one article with someone else's photos from a press thing that they just chucked a watermark on. I thought that was really interesting. I'd never seen that before, so I think that was a sign of the times changing.
Well, it's almost like that. It's like that Petrolicious YouTube channel that just did it so right. Then all of a sudden they start doing it so wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and
they had the
everyone's
best
like,
videos. You're
"No,
right.
go back to your old format. It was so much nicer before."
Is it a sellout thing? Is it a?
Yeah, I don't know. But well, sometimes people sell. Like, I mean, my mates who run Deus Ex Machina, like, they've sold that. So, you know, Dare Jennings sold Mambo as well, and then Mambo became something different.
Yeah.
So you never know. Like, sometimes when you see a company shift, it could be because of some internal thing, like they've actually sold the business, or someone has stepped down or something like that. But I remember with Speed Hunters when they were still quite big, I was in the US speaking to Dino about joining the team, and the hardest thing for me is to write something that's not so opinionated. But then Dino was like, that's probably why we'd want you to be on. Would be to ruffle some feathers. And I don't know whether that's because they needed more different directions and stuff at that time. But
I think that's like the original clickbait. It's just putting something up that's pretty opinionated to get people commenting and actually get some interaction, because that was the thing. Speed Hunters always had interaction underneath the articles. That was like the only website where people were commenting. So I think that's the kind of thing that they probably wanted.
I mean, we had so much reach, man. Like when we were at that time, when I suppose when you guys were starting Gripshift and I was starting ZEN, it was a time where Facebook, I think, exploded more than any other platform. And we were reaching like 1 million+ people a week with ZEN Garage. And I don't know what happened at some stage. I suppose they introduced advertising and then pulled the plug, and
the algorithms came in.
Do you remember that? Like, I mean,
100%.
Yeah, even the YouTubers too. Do you remember that? Like, they demonetized all the YouTubers, and it seemed like a global move. Like, give them the hits and then take it away.
Well, like I think early days, like I remember we celebrated milestones with like first 2,000 likes on Facebook. We're like, oh crap, this is something. What have we done here? We're in too deep. And then like we started selling merch, and it got a bit bigger. And then it was like 12,000 likes. What the hell, man? We've got a bit of a brand. And then it tapped out at like 34,000. And we're like, wow, that's sizable. And it stopped. And that was like 6 years ago. It's still like 34,000 6 years ago.
Isn't that weird, right?
Yeah.
Same with ZEN too. Like, same with our Insta, and we have so many people unfollowing that all the people that are following just keeps the number the
balances
same.
It out, And I think that's why you decided to jump to Insta, is because that still had some reach, and that's also why those numbers on Insta, as you said, like a little bit low. We just don't have those followers. I think Insta started to throttle as well, and
100%.
But the likes compared from Insta to Facebook is so extreme. It'll be like 400 likes on Instagram and 5 likes on Facebook, and you're like, why is the algorithm so harsh on Facebook compared to Instagram when they own both?
It's so weird, right? And they're connected too, because if you advertise on one,
it's the same platform.
I mean, YouTube's the same, man. Like, I've been uploading these podcasts to YouTube, and when I look back at the old videos that we used to post, they've all got like thousands of views. And now it's like hundreds, like 100 views or something. It's like, wow, it's so hard to get onto that front front page. It's not even easy to find something via search, you know?
Yeah. See, I just don't understand how new kids coming into the scene would try and start their own little slice of the internet. Like, how do you get people coming across to see your content? It must be so daunting seeing 5 likes on a photo.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think it's a business now, right? And I think it's probably better that it is in some ways. Because if you were a pioneer of something, it's only fair that you were there at the right time and you got all those hits, right? Whereas now, if they didn't throttle it and it was back to where it was 10 years ago, but imagine it's like that tomorrow, everyone's going to be back, which is, I think that would be a good thing, but I also think a lot of people would be getting attention, undeserved attention, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the guys who are actually creating good content versus those sharing pages and things like that, you just wouldn't be able to tell anymore. I mean, you brought up merch a second ago, but I do remember you guys did really well with the merch, and you guys helped us out too. Like, you put us onto a manufacturer that you guys used for your hats. So the ZEN hats were made by the same people. I just wanted to say thanks, guys, because people approach me and ask me, where do you get your stuff made? And I used to always be open book about it because I'm just like better out than in kind of person. But I don't know if I'd be the same these days. I think, I wouldn't want everyone to know, because maybe they don't deserve to know. Maybe you've got to work and figure things out yourself. And I don't think people appreciate stuff like they used to, like in that, close click that we all had. Like these days, if someone asks me for something, like they'll just expect it. I don't think they actually appreciate, giving that sort of insider info.
I think you're bang on. I think that sounds like it's almost like we're older and that's what we sound like.
Exactly.
But it's so true though. Like, I just feel like when we were around 10 years ago, there was still this onus on each individual to represent the scene in a proper way. The individual counted, and we encouraged people to, take it off the street, go onto the track. We encouraged people to go for function over form, and there was so much more of that, and there was so much more of like, well, the answers are out there. Use the search bar. Go use the search bar on the forums, and definitely now that the forums are dead, the websites are dead, I think people are really quick to ask questions on Facebook
all the time, man.
It's hard to find that information now without forums working properly. For car stuff, especially.
But I always said the same chain of events. Someone asked that simple question, and the first comment is someone with a link to Google going, "This is the first result on Google," and then it just turns into a shit fight. It's
even like people how badly they write and spell, and I mean, sometimes I feel like having a whole day where I just correct people's twos and twos in the YouTube comments, but I'd know I would get, you're a spelling Nazi and all of this stuff. And,
if you notice that stuff, it's exhausting to read. Like, you miss out on content because you try and read it and like, there's no full stops, there's no commas. And you're like, what are you trying to say, man?
Totally.
It's exhausting.
I saw a Jordan Peterson fan video on YouTube the other day, and they spelt his name wrong in the video. I'm like, I mean, if you're gonna steal, if you're gonna steal someone's footage and do a mashup, at least get his name right. And that's obviously monetized as well.
100%.
They're making money off it, and the whole people putting advertisements in line as well in their YouTube videos, so you can't skip them.
I hate it.
And then they're always doing that like, comment, and subscribe, and it just gets it does. Like, I don't want to be, call me old school or stubborn or what, but I don't want to subscribe to what you have to do these days in order to get someone to give you that like or give you that follow or subscribe. Like, drill it into them multiple times in the video with little
buy my merch. Buy my merch. Come on, buy
it. Dude, the merch thing is really funny. Like, I've been having goes lately at big YouTubers who are selling merch, but with ZEN Garage, it's a brand, and with Gripshift, it was a brand. But these guys are putting their own names on their merch. I'm like, why would I wear somebody else's name?
Yeah, I don't quite follow that. Like even some of like the drifters are doing it now too, and it's
right.
I don't even think I'd wear like a tennis player's name, like an athlete's name. I don't understand that concept of making a brand out of someone's name. I don't quite
That's
follow
the concept, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
the concept is probably it.
You're not Calvin Klein.
From...
Like it doesn't. it doesn't make sense. It's very jarring.
That reminds me of that scene from Back to the Future where she calls him Calvin because he's got Calvin Klein's on.
I think it's a name tag.
Yeah, totally. Oh man, so how do you guys feel about not getting the followers and likes like you used to, and and at the same time, why are you guys still doing it? Like
it's mostly Grant's keeping it going. Like I've been out of sorts and sort of hate love relationship, but every day Grant posting, and I'll just swoop in like once a week, twice a week maybe, and put it in. So it's mostly Grant. So why do you do it?
Good question.
Wait, before you answer it, Grant, what you just said, Gwyn, is so typical of everything that I've ever done in a partnership, where some weeks or months I'm on it and sometimes I'm not, and it causes a lot of tension, right? Like there's this tension sometimes where with especially with my Australian in-front design community, it was like I was so busy into JDM style tuning and cars, and then I went even further with starting ZEN Garage, and the guys that were running that design community with me were like, come on, Justin, like you got to do some work,
pull some weight.
Right. So just before you even answer that question before, like how do you guys, how have you dealt with that over 10 years? Like Grant, you're obviously doing all the work at the moment, but
I think at the start it was maybe the other way. Like I feel like at the start I went real hard on some things and was trying to run the events and do this, that, the other, because Grant was the website guy and I can't compete with making and building the website. So I had to talk to people and be nice and run events and try and get people to turn up. So like after 4 years and then shipping merch and stuff, I think I just burnt out and stopped. And then it was like, it was Grant's turn. He took over, and it's been like 6 years since. So he's done his fair share. I think it's, I need to start doing a bit more.
But it's
bringing back out of
retirement. Yeah. It's a funny thing, isn't it? So I mean, at least you guys seem pretty chill about it. It's I mean, I suppose that's leads on to the question then, Grant. Like, why are you doing it? And if the hits are nowhere near what they used to be, and the reach is a lot smaller than it used to be, like, do you find it somehow therapeutic still to share your photography? And
well, nothing's ever good enough. You know what I mean? Like I'll take photos and look at them and go, that's shit. What am I doing? But then I see other people doing way worse stuff. I'm like, where do I fit in this? Like I'll still post stuff, but I don't think it's where the quality I want to be, like I want to be a lot higher than that. But then I'm not traveling overseas. I can't get to the events I want to be at. All these tracks overseas are so much more beautiful than us, like our tracks. And I'm at Winton and Calder, like every weekend. It's like, same shit. And I have traveled around Australia a bit doing stuff, but it's still hard to push yourself within this range, within Australia. Like, and mainly I focus on drift because I love drift.
Yeah. It's very dynamic, and it shows in your photos too, right? Like you have a thing for, well, obviously the cars are always at angles, but you have a thing for a car doing something that is just like just about to touch the wall, or it's lifting up a front wheel, or it's super dynamic work. You don't really do
I don't like the generic shit, like
still
the
stuff.
Standard cams photographer style stuff, if that makes sense.
Well, you have an artistic, it's artistic. That's what it is too. Like, it's probably really hard to explain actually, but there's an artistic nature to your shots over someone who's technically just taking a shot at a racetrack.
It probably comes from design background, because I'm similar to you, Justin, where I never got to the heights you got to, but I went through uni and did design stuff, multimedia. I was at that stage where it was the big multimedia boom, the flash days. And I was going through uni at that stage, and they put too many people through uni. So there's too many designers, too many multimedia guys, and nobody could get a job. I came out of uni, tried to get a job. No, we're all full. So I had to go and work in retail.
Okay.
And then I've been stuck there for years, just in a warehouse basically. So I had to shelve my design stuff and just do freelance stuff on the side because I could never push my way into the design industry properly how I wanted to originally. Yeah. So then I've had to sit back, and then I kind of converted to photography more than design.
And how did you do that? Because I find myself I'm full-time photographer these days, and it took a long time to get here. But how did you find picking up a camera? Like, what was the story behind that?
It was probably from car meets and stuff, from doing up cars back in the day. And then, my first digital camera, like I used to have, proper SLR film before I went to digital. But my first digital camera was at 2.1 megapixel power shot Canon.
Do you remember the Nikon Coolpix with the twisty
like
body?
3200 or like 3200 with the twisty. I think
Twisty,
that was pinnacle.
My foray into digital.
Wow.
That's when the cameras started to get decent.
Yeah, 2.1. That was
my first digital camera took a floppy disk.
Yeah.
It was a Sony. It was like the size of a VCR tape, and we put a floppy disk in it. You'd punch the button, and it would take a VGA shot, and it would sit there and make that floppy disk. It would fit like 10 photos.
They were bad though, right? Like, do you guys remember how, like, the pixels and it was just so bad? But I mean,
it looked like the Game Boy camera. Remember the Game Boy camera attachment? It was like that. It was just like that.
But we were on dial-up and stuff, and the internet wasn't ready for high-res photos anyway.
No.
And
you'd have to design everything web-based for that screen ratio. I remember the pains of trying to fit stuff into
640 by 40 or 800 by 600.
That's right. And then it jumped to the 1024, and then
I think
all those different ratios.
Our website, we started at like 900 pixels wide or something.
No, less than that. 750.
750 pixels wide. And
you remember the website had to work on both 640 by 480 and 800, and later on it had to work at 1020
and then mobile
as well. Right. And that
mobile jump killed a lot of websites.
Yeah.
I think
especially that in-between point where it was like mobile websites weren't quite ready yet, and you're still doing web, and it was that crossover point. And
I think about this all the time, man, because like websites weren't template driven like they are today.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't
handmade,
care whether it worked. Yeah, they were handmade.
Yep.
It was designed for this resolution. If it doesn't look so good on the phone, tough luck.
So be it.
That was like the time of all the creative websites where you had to find buttons. It was like
you had to
exploring.
work.
It was very interactive and hidden, and it was cool. And now it's all
so cool,
the same
man.
format. Same format.
So cool, man. Like, to have a blank HTML page, and to, I used to design my pages in Photoshop, and you just sit there and create an artwork.
That's right.
Cut the hell out of it and tables within tables to make it work.
And then reduce them so they get smaller and smaller so they could load faster.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was an artwork. Like, you'd upload the page, and it was like, that was the artwork. It was cool. Whereas now it's just like, I'm on WordPress.
Yeah.
I'm on all these template driven. I mean, I think Facebook was the first side of that nature.
Yeah.
I hopped on Facebook for the first time, and it was the future because they had these dynamic menus and this JavaScript that blew my mind. And it was like, oh shit, this is actually quite corporate, but quite smart coding as well.
Yeah. Form and function.
Yeah. And that's when I realized, oh shit, I don't have a future in web design anymore. Like, that whole HTML cutting up
custom
is gone.
Yeah.
It
is. Yeah, it's changed. But like, Grant did some work for a new website launch for us, and we've tried to get a concept of swiping sideways like a magazine. You're turning pages. And just to try and build that from the ground up, like, Grant had such a horrible time trying to design and find something that suits, and pretty much got there. I think it's just a few things to clean it up. But like, no one else does that, and it's so hard to try and be different within these constraints. And no one does anything where you go sideways. Like, everything scroll up and down.
I know, it's so
boring. I go sideways like a book. So
and everyone's like either top navigation or left navigation too. It's like it's not a game anymore. It's not like you said before. It's not about exploring anymore. No. Now it's like, well, drill down to what you think you want to see the most, and then get in, get out kind of thing.
Yeah, instead of searching.
It's not an experience.
You got to ask someone, where's this? How do I have to do this? There's no search.
But same with games these days. Games, everything's in instructional. It's like, go here to get this, do that. Now there's nothing to explore. You get into the game, you kind of already know what to do.
That's such a huge thing, man, because I'm a bit of a gamer, and like all these open world games are my jam, you know. But now it's like you can hit a button, it'll scan, 100 feet in front of you, and all the items will show up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have that in real life. Like you got to go looking for stuff. That's the way games used to be.
That's a good point. I actually had a conversation like this the other day because I've been working from home for COVID life, and some people aren't good at working from home. I love it.
All right.
I'm great. I'm super motivated. I can do it. People I talk to are freaking out. They can't do it. And I think one of them is a big gamer. And I think he's used to this mindset where you can push this button and scan a room, and I need to do this. I need to go to the kitchen to fill up my glass. And he's missing that by being at home by himself because he has no one telling him what to do. I think it's spoiled some people.
I think the people who are going crazy are the ones that literally waste the most time at work, because they're probably missing like talking to people, having ciggy breaks with people, sitting in the kitchen making a coffee. They're missing all those bits probably.
Yeah, definitely. No.
But they seem to be the people who get ahead a lot of the time. The people who talk and the social butterfly, they don't do any work, but they get ahead, and the people behind them are doing all the work, getting no money for it. Dude,
I've agreed with that my whole life. Hey, I've always said it's not always the right person in the right job.
Yep.
Like I've met so many people over the years that are super talented, but they don't have that confidence to publish anything, or they may be afraid that their work's not quite finished yet, or it's not good enough, or they don't want that negative feedback. So many people, man, like I think, it seems like especially young people these days are having a real struggle with doing something like what we did 10 years ago, where this looks like it's going to be fun, and let that excitement of starting something new take over. Like we were seeing each other at car meets. You guys used to travel a shitload more than I did, but I'd see you guys in Sydney. We would be selling your stickers. Like I would be selling your stickers, nearly every day in the shop. And it was just a cool time. It was a cool time to like build confidence from actually doing something real and doing something fun.
Yeah, I remember the first days we were doing merch and sending stuff out like overseas, like sending stickers to Sweden. I'm like, why? Who is this person? How do they know about us?
Yeah.
So
it's so cool, right?
Yeah, 100%, real cool. But yeah,
so
I think it was just the time.
Are you guys still like, Grant? Would you say you're still sort of hanging in there, hoping for a big wave, or is it more that? Is it more like that you don't really care about people finding your stuff because it's more about the process of doing it? Like,
it's more integrity. It's like people these days that are car-based groups, like Facebook and Instagram and stuff, they just post rubbish. They find shit online and repost it, and they don't even do any work. And they're getting so many numbers from it. Yet there's nobody who's just doing their own work and constantly posting. They don't have any integrity anymore. Like they just steal people's work constantly.
Yeah,
I'm with
and
you.
Kids
it's
don't
almost
give
like
a shit.
The YouTubers, the clickbait titles, and this is what I mean by like you're obviously not conforming to probably the current best practices on how you could be getting the most out of posting this. Yeah, but it's like I'm kind of the same, right? I'm creating this content, and I know that I could get it out to a lot more people if I put a lot more effort into that part of it, but I don't really give a fuck about that. I'm just more into just like therapeutically doing it. So do you find that, like, I mean, obviously you still have a passion for shooting, and you obviously still have a passion for automotive sport as well.
Definitely. But I've shot a lot of different sports in the time. Like I did a lot of MMA stuff, behind the cage, getting blood on my face kind of stuff.
I think you even did surfing stuff.
Yeah, I did surfing stuff.
You shared it on ZEN.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff. I'm even doing maternity shoots these days. That's how like lost I am.
Extreme sport.
Yeah. Because
but you're obviously still doing it with an artful eye though.
Oh, right? Of course. Yeah. I'm not just shitting it out. I'm actually giving it a go,
Yeah, you're actually into it though, right?
Yeah, I am. But one of the reasons I'm doing maternity stuff is because my wife's pregnant and she's got 1 month to go. Happens. So I'm just cashing in on the audience at the moment.
Yeah. So Gripshiftslide going to stop in a month.
Yeah, it's going to be all baby.
Jeez, man. That's another thing altogether, right? Like, I love talking to people on my podcast that have multiple children and just trying to figure out their mindset around it. And
Yeah.
because I've never been interested in kids, but like I understand everyone's different, but like how people deal with kids and how big a part of their lives kids are, and just trying to figure out whether you have to be less selfish when you have a kid.
Two months ago, Justin, I asked him if he thought about names yet, and he said, "For what?" So I'm interested to see the change as well.
It's gonna be interesting, yeah. I mean, and like, yeah, I don't know. People change, so it'll be interesting, and your values change. I suppose they will change, and priorities might change as well.
Yeah. I'm the worst because I'm an only child, so I'm selfish so it's going to be hard to actually be attentive, but I will. It'll happen.
That's funny, man.
But
I wanted to ask you, like, I've seen photos of you, Grant, on the track, and yeah, Gwyn, I never really see you with like the massive gear, but I always see Grant with like lenses that I can't even comprehend. As a photographer, I don't know the first thing about buying a lens that's bigger than your head and heavy as well by the looks of it. Like it looks like a lot of glass. How did you get to that? Like obviously you're no hobbyist anymore when you start to get that kind of gear. It's not like see, that's another thing as well. Like that gear's got to be expensive. So if what you're doing is passion related, and you're not exactly monetizing it, not exactly making. So how do you even afford this stuff? Yeah, like because that stuff can't be cheap.
I think this is why we don't have S15s and R34s and stuff. Like all our friends have this cool stuff, and it's like, well, why don't you have it? It's this camera gear. Like
goes into the business kind of thing.
We'd have to easily be in the hole for like 15, 20K each over like the 10 years, and you're always upgrading and changing something. It's bad.
Would you guys call yourselves gearheads in terms of photography? Like
not the latest. Like Grant's pretty like.
I would have converted to Sony if I could have, but I can't afford to. I've got too many lenses in Canon to make it the change.
And I think you're the right kind of thrifty. You'll buy the best that you can get for a price point, even if it's 4 years, 5 years old. That's the best that you could get for that, rather than having something that doesn't have the range or the exact quality for twice the price, sort of thing. So yeah, I think you're very clever in which lenses you bought, things like that. But you always break them.
Yeah, no.
7200 breaks.
No, I only broke my 70-200, and that's the only lens I ever broke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's probably because I cried too much about it. Because it was my first big lens that I spent money on, like back in the day.
Yeah, but it's good if you've used it a lot, Like I'm in that kind of person. Like I will use something till it breaks, and then I'll happily upgrade then.
Yeah.
But I tried my best not to be a gearhead and buy the latest, Like
I never bought the latest, but I always bought glass first.
Yeah.
So I always looked for glass that would hold up over the years. So I buy like old school expensive glass that now nobody wants because it hasn't got a stabilizer and it hasn't got this. It's not light. So my 400 mil, that's from the like early 90s. Doesn't have a stabilizer. It's 15 kilos.
So heavy.
Yeah.
And you've got to lug that around the track, but it's just for the glass quality. I don't have 15 grand to spend on a new one that's 2 kilos,
Yeah. But it's how you use it too, right? Like that's the thing. Like I think I feel like when you don't change gear so much, you just start to master the gear you've got.
You do.
That's right.
And I see a lot of and I see a lot of photographers who have the latest gear, but you're right. It usually is the body and not the glass. Like usually they spend up big on the latest model camera.
Yeah.
But then the glass they're using is crap, and every time they take their cameras out, they've got like swapping out 5 different lenses on the one subject. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what shot are you trying to get? Is it in your head, or you just? I feel like a lot of photographers out there that some of them have way more followers than we do.
Oh yeah.
Both of us, and I just feel like they didn't go to design school because I can see nothing's lining up with anything.
Yeah.
Like compositionally, this is a shocker.
Yeah. I hear you talk about that sort of grid thing all the time, and like I'm really OCD with that and straightening things, and there's always has to be something. I'm always teaching friends who like love to post on Instagram. I'm like, hey, just straighten that up, and they're like, whoa, that looks so much different. I'm like, exactly. Like you just straighten your horizons or try and line up something in like the grid that, you know, all the ratio rules you've got and stuff. It makes such a difference.
Totally, but it's almost like if you don't know, you don't know, right? And then you know, like if I've had a few photographers where I've asked them for their permission whether I could just rotate and crop some of their images, and I'll send it back to them, and they're like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, and like, good. Now turn your grid lines on in your viewfinder and put it to action, you know?
I mean, once upon a time, I think that was almost the style, because even Grant's design background, like we see all the Facebook memories and stuff coming up, and that's when we started to realize it's been like 10 years, because the first 2 years we're seeing photos, everything's on this crazy angle. I've like got a sore neck.
45 degrees.
I do. I don't know why. I remember I must have walked around. I'm like, yeah, that's so much cooler.
Because they never went to design school. Like these
but it was a style. Everyone copied it.
It was a style.
Yeah.
Like,
even today, I still see young kids doing the 45-degree angle, like war action stuff.
And it hurts your neck to look at now. And like we see our old stuff, and like, what were we doing? I just want to straighten all these old photos, and it makes a difference.
No, I've gotten to a point now where I don't like, I pay it out, but I'm not serious about it. Like I think I'm in a place in life now where I'm not right. Like
let it be.
Yeah, like if someone has a really disgusting logo or bad typography or whatever, I'm like, I'm not right. I don't have better taste. Taste is, you know, each to their own kind of thing. And so I try to be more open-minded about it and catch myself out from like, oh, fuck, that's bad, or fuck, that's ugly. I'm like, you know, some people like it. They like it.
Yeah.
So
I had that problem down in Apollo Bay. I was down there lately, and there was an artist. I went to an art show there. I didn't know what the art was going to be. We just walked in, and it was all this comic stuff, right? And it was like just like Marvel style characters, but mixed with Star Wars. I'm like, what the hell is this? But the painter was really good, like really technically brilliant, beautiful colors, like a master. But the shit he was painting was shit. And I couldn't help myself. I walked up to him and said, what are you doing?
You serious?
Yeah, I'm serious, because I'm a fool. And I walked up to him and said, what the fuck are you doing? Not like that, but I just said, what are you doing? You've got so much talent. Why aren't you just ripping off the greats and making money, or doing stuff like for kids? Because his colors were just amazing.
Right.
And he's blending and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, you could do such great stuff. There's so many like crappier painters doing better, like more imaginative stuff than you. Why are you doing this? And he tried to explain to me it's all about the story, and it was all kind of weird mythical kind of castles and knights, and the story of the butterfly in the back, and the Adam and Eve. And I'm like, no, people won't get this. Like, it was just a weird mix. But I know what you're saying. Like, you've got to stand back and not just let them be them. Like, I couldn't help myself. Like,
I used to be like that. And I just think like some people, I suppose they're not calling out for help. If they were asking for help, I'd be more than happy to. But I just, you know, that whole inspiring someone thing. Like, I think I've my whole life has been like, so long as I inspire other people, I'm happy to be alive kind of thing. Now it's like, I give less of a fuck to inspire others. I'm like, if I inspire people, if they get it, that's cool. You know, that's why it all started with Zen. You know, it's like, it's all right if you get it, but if you really don't understand it, I can't be fucked explaining it. Like, and part of the reason why I quit graphic design is just having to educate every client you meet. Like, every client you meet wants something. I know what I'm doing for them is good, but then they question it because they don't know, and then I have to educate them on what's, you know, good design and what's bad design.
And they want a bit of their sauce in the design that won't work. Like,
right. And then it's this whole taste argument again. And then, know, like, it gets to a point where you don't get a pat on the back at the end of the job. Like, you know, I had a client, he's, I met him at a car meet, like a year or two after I did an identity package for him and a website design and all that stuff. And He goes, "Oh, Justin, check out my watch." I'm like, I'm not a watch guy. Like, what's that? He goes, this is $500,000 watch, man. I'm like, fuck, good on you. He goes, yeah, we've made it. We're making millions. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but you bargained me down to like $2,000 for the job.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just a reminder that like, people don't want to pay more than $50 for a logo design, and then they want to put it on t-shirts, a business card, a website. They want to put it on a building. And
it's the same with photos. We've had like performance companies in Australia, big ones, go, hey, how much can we use this photo for? And like, being young and naive or just not being a professional, don't know what to charge, so I'll just pull some arbitrary figure, like nothing, like $100, like whatever, and they're like, "Ooh, we'll get back to you." It's like, what, $100?
Isn't that crazy
for a photo? Like, it blows my mind that they won't spend money on that sort of stuff to keep these people doing it. So like, why would you stay around? So
it's a tough one, man. Like, I think like I got lucky there with Toyo. Like, Toyo really did look after me. They put me on a retainer. And it was on, really decent money to do whatever I wanted to do, which they didn't have that pressure of, you have to do X amount of posts per week or whatever, And I can see how that wouldn't work with everybody. Like, some people would abuse that and then, not deliver enough or whatever. But it makes me a bit upset that like you guys are doing such good work, and it could so very easily work for an automotive company, because you're already creating so much. And it's almost like in automotive, it's hard to get a creative job within it, like where you get this retainer to maybe have a column in a magazine every month, or to have a feature in a magazine every month, or something that was like consistent.
Yeah, I think that was the idea at the start. It was like, maybe this will just be a foot in the door to get into that sort of thing. You'll make all these connections. I mean, like we've done like lifestyle-y social stuff for Toyota and other stuff, but then we've also been burnt with things like, I think it was Michelin, were like so intense. They were like, hey, we're going to give you a set of tires and we need some content. And it was pretty vague at the start, and then suddenly turned into like contractual, and they were hassling us while we were going up to time attack, and we were just,
they wanted a video, the worst photos, they wanted all this kind of stuff, and it's like, what?
Yeah, there's a lot of hoop jumping, and for not much return. Like, it was cool, we got some product, but like, kind of, when you're doing those sorts of reviews and content things, it's sort of like an even thing, whereas they wanted more, and it was strict timing, and it just did not work for us. So
it was the other way around with the Need for Speed thing. Like, we were excited, then we couldn't do anything. It's like we made 10 or so videos, and they're like, you can't release any of them because that's just not what they wanted. And they gave me a script, and I had to say things like, this is Need for Speed crew create. It's like, what the fuck? And I just couldn't do it, man. I was just my heart wasn't in the entire thing. And the car turned out like shit, and it was so embarrassing. They had their own surfer guy who was going to design the body kit
or something.
Like, but we got him to do the cannons because it was damage control.
Exactly.
I wasn't going to let him do a body kit. Like,
no,
what?
Yuck.
And then we had some graffiti guy that was going to do graph on the car. I'm like, what's going on? I couldn't believe it.
That whole thing, I didn't understand it at all. And like, it's so easy just to be like, oh, it's Justin being Justin. He doesn't like being told what to do. But realistically, they hired you because you were in the car scene and you could give them what car scene people wanted. So then let you do that. I don't understand that concept.
No, the agency, it's just the agencies. Like, I've known it my whole life as a creative. Agencies will fuck you. And it was just so sad, man. At the end, I met them down the beach for a coffee. They wanted to congratulate me on how awesome the job went, right? They were so happy with it. And the agency was happy because EA were happy, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, we're so happy with it. We want to give you the car. You can have the car, like, as a bonus, for the job done and stuff. They're like, oh, one thing though, you're not allowed to
change it,
take photos of it anywhere. You're not allowed to. You have to take the plates off it. You can't promote it anymore. Like, it's out about. It's always about paranoia with agencies. They don't want to. Like, I couldn't drive the car. I couldn't drift the car because what happens if something was to happen? Like, it's all like
bad PR.
yeah, we couldn't do anything with this thing. And so I just sold it. Like literally they handed me the keys, and the week after I just sold it and got rid of it. And I told them exactly what I thought. Like they were so happy. They were like meeting me to say congratulations and all this shit. I'm like, well, can I just give you my bit? I fucking hated the job from start to end. It was the worst thing ever. You really should have just let us do what we wanted to do. It would have been so much more respected by the right people within the community.
Yeah.
We were made to look like fools, and it was just such an embarrassing thing that is a wasted opportunity for me, because man, it could have been so good.
Yeah.
You know, like a dream job. But
it never happens. They never do that.
No, and it's like, and also don't get to come out and say it either, you know. So it's like, oh man, and they were so shocked to hear that, because at that time they were talking about getting me to ZEN to sponsor the new UFC game. Right? And I was because I love UFC too, Grant. Like I fucking love it, man. I can't wait for the Conor fight tomorrow. And I was just so excited about the UFC thing. But then because I told them exactly what I thought of the job, they just dropped me. Never heard from them ever again. So that whole UFC lead just went in the bin. So my fault, but it would have been more of the same anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, that's a disaster. It's a disaster. But yeah, no, it would be nice to be doing stuff with more automotive brands and things like that. But some of them, yeah, like not that you expect them to pay you thousands and thousands of dollars, but just something to make it worthwhile, or
a retainer. That's what I mean. Wouldn't it be awesome if you guys got like, you know, a couple of grand a month to go out there, and you're doing it anyway. You're going out and shooting anyway, but then to specifically capture maybe 50 edited shots for them to use in their own library. They can have their own library of high-res photos that they can use anytime. And
it's so easy with motorsport to have a collection of photos exclusive for someone else. If they need exclusive content, it's so easy just to have that extra batch of photos from slightly different angles or slightly different edits to go, these are your shots. You do what you want with them. So it is easy to do.
It's interesting because Toyota bought some photos off me that I took like, I don't know, 6 years ago or like 5 years ago of the 86 racing series when it first got released, because they were replacing all the photos on their website of the 86 racing series. But photographers have been taking photos of those for years and years and years. Why'd they come back to us to get photos that are old? That it's like we could be creating new content for you right now. What are you doing?
The cars probably looked more together back then than now.
a little bit more tired, yeah.
So strange. Like, why don't you invest in content creators and it'll help you? Like,
well, it's all those third-party agencies, like you're saying. It's always like, here's the brand, and then they're disconnected because there's an agency in the middle.
It's exactly that. And it's all about who you know then. Like you were saying, Grant, before, it's about like these agencies already have their preferred photographers and people that they like to deal with. They have deals going under the table, you know? So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think the automotive scene and a lot of scenes that people are super passionate about, it's hard to find those pockets of money. They do exist. Like Toyo is a great example of a company who is big enough to obviously have an advertising budget to spend every year. And how they disperse that is, you know, that's up to contention, and how to get your foot in the door is difficult. But like with me just shooting girls, even these girls, they're not just like wannabe models, but they're girls who make a killing on OnlyFans and all that stuff. So they actually have money to pay me. So I've noticed that black and white difference too, between just someone who wants a photo shoot versus someone who needs the photos for content every day of the month. And they're posting it. They're on it. It's a business.
It's a business. It's a cost of running. It's expected you need to be spending and investing this to have content to post.
Exactly. So there's that consistency, and there's that pocket that I'm in. But it's really black and white to me now. Yeah. But I think like a lot of photographers, automotive photographers, they're kind of like barking up the wrong tree. You know, it's like they'll go to a car event, shoot the cars, and then try to sell the shots to the people that were at the event. And it's like a lot of these guys don't know the difference between a good shot and a bad shot.
Yeah.
If a photographer's out there that's cheaper than you are, then they're probably just going to buy the cheaper shots of their car. And
they don't care on the quality. They'll just, whoever's cheaper.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, for a while we had some good like back scratching stuff with Toyota. Like we were borrowing cars pretty regularly and just giving them some photos just to chuck on socials. Like it was not hard work, and it wasn't like we were going out of our way to make content and you got to drive some fun cars. Because I pushed it. Like I remember asking them when I was going to Japan, and I was like, "Can I get a car in Japan?" And they're like, "Shit, we've never done this before." So they contacted head office, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, we can." And so I ended up going to Tokyo head office of Toyota, and like, here's some keys to a car, and I got a car for the week, which I normally would have dropped $700 on a rental, and I was just getting some cool shots with Mount Fuji in the background, and they put it on some social media, and it was done. It was like back scratching. It was really good. But then those channels sort of dry up. You'll have someone leave, and then you don't have a contact anymore, because it's so much easier when you're dealing straight with the company with no agencies. It just works.
That's what happened with Toyo and I, just working direct. But like I mean, part of it is the hustle too, though. Yeah, like I met a guy from Indonesia a couple of days ago, and he's a friend of my mom's friend, some sort of family relation kind of thing. And I suppose he did kind of expect me to just go, yeah, this is what you need to do to get work,
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to help you. Like, just go and hustle, man. Like, you know how to hustle, like you see a shit website out there, just contact them and say your website sucks, and because of A, B, and C, and if you'd like a meeting, we could talk about maybe redesigning it. Or if you pick up a magazine at a newsagent, these people are spending $5 to $20K for a magazine ad. I mean, it goes to show they've got money to promote their business, and if the ad sucks, just like reach out to them and say, your ad's really disgusting, and because of these reasons, and I'd love to redesign your advertisement so that you could reach more people or something, like you just got to hustle, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, do you guys feel like there is a little bit of that fire still in you to maybe hustle and find more gigs with your work?
We do need to hustle a bit more, but it's like, as time goes by, you get busier and stuff, and you get old. You get that old fatigue, like, it's not worth it. I'm going to get burnt. But yes, there still is fire. Yeah. Like, we're still posting stuff. It's not like we've completely stopped,
Yeah. No, not at all. You guys are, well, Grant, I know now that I know it's you, you're quite prolific.
Yeah. A lot of it this year's been all old content, but,
But it doesn't matter.
2021 will be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's like, honestly, like every time I log into ZEN Garage Instagram, ZEN Garage doesn't follow that many Instagrammers, but we follow a fair lot. But it's always Gripshift, always. Like every time I log in, I'll see you guys. And what that goes to show is that all those people that we were following 10 years ago probably aren't creating content anymore.
They don't. We were talking about this earlier. It's all memes and reshared content. It's quite weird. It's really quite weird. Because, I think that was the one thing we set out from the start. And I think it's not so much our own pride or our own morals, and we won't break that. I think we created something, and that's the rules of Gripshift. Like, Gripshift is for its own content, and you don't share things. You take content and post them on it. And I think we kind of owe it to that now that it's 10 years old. We can't change that. It's become its own thing. It's like, it is a baby. I think that's the main thing that keeps it going. Is that it would feel ashamed to switch it off. I think I'd feel like I'm killing something.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I've done that a few times with a few of my communities and stuff, and it always hurts. It never gets any better. Like, you just miss it, and you start to wonder, did you really need to kill it?
Yeah.
Maybe at least leave a website up or something as a placeholder.
Yeah.
But some stuff's gone, and it hurts. But I like that. Like I just can't help but overall just feel like, especially this morning when I checked out that you guys only had like 6,000 or 7,000 followers on Insta. I'm like, man, like a girl who just started shooting last week can have 6,000 this week.
Yeah.
And I know, like every other photographer that shoots people, like women especially, I know that if I put a butt shot up, it's going to get more likes than an artistic shot.
Yeah.
And maybe over time, whether it's getting older or not, I just think it's like, I know my level of selling out, and if I do sell out, I'll make more money, but will that make me sleep better at night? Probably
It's a hard
not.
balance.
Yeah. No.
You know? So I just feel this frustration. Like, I'm in the center with where you guys are at. Like, I just see the good content.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but fuck, this needs to be seen by more people.
Well, yeah, like I always noticed, like a couple of times I posted a shot recently, I'm like, yeah, it's my turn this week, maybe I'll post something, and you'll share it, and I'm like, oh, cool. And it's, you know, always it's better than us saying, hey, like and follow us. It's someone else endorsing, and it's someone else in the scene, and it's someone who might appreciate it more. So it always means a bit more. And I think, yeah, as a message coming across, like if I see you sharing someone else saying, hey, follow this person, I usually check them out, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And like usually appreciate that more than someone else forcing it down. Like my content, subscribe to my thing.
Totally right.
Yeah.
I think maybe I think that's how it used to work a little bit more too. Like this guy that I met the other day from Indo said that the way it is in Indo with all the young kids now is no one will help you. Like the way you guys helped me with the hat manufacturer and the Sunnies manufacturer, like that would never happen in this day and age. Like, even if it was your family, they reckon they wouldn't even share stuff. It's so competitive, you know? And I even find that with gaming. Like, I play computer games to play games, like to have fun. And the constant screen grabs of achievements, and it's really weird. It's like, it's sort of competitive / I'm better than you, or I don't know, but it's like, it's just, the vibe is different.
That's just why I stick to single player. I hate that whole online thing. It's just it's toxic.
That's what I mean. I don't know that they mean it. People mean it to be toxic, like, because you know, they put themselves through something really difficult, sat there for 5 hours straight and fucking did something, you know. And so you want to take a screen grab of it, you want to share it, but I don't know what it is. There's a vibe, but I don't know if it's me, or it could completely be me.
It's the same as like Facebook and Instagram posting your best self. Like, everyone's online image is the best of they can possibly be, and it's usually comes across as fake and not very personable. And I don't know.
See that a lot too, man. I meet so many people that I see what they look like online first, and then when they rock up at my door, Catfished. It's like, wait, who are you? Where's that person in the photos?
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It's interesting times, eh? We're starting to sound like some old men now.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I get gray hairs, man. I got a gray chin now, and I go to if I go to a car meet, I do feel that old vibe. I'm like,
you've got a baby. You got a baby face though, Gwyn. You got a baby face.
Thank you.
You know, youthful. But dude, like, guys, it's been awesome chatting. Like, maybe let's talk about where you guys are potentially going to take Gripshift. You know, like, I'm so glad to hear that it's not going away.
Yeah.
You know, like, I got a bit concerned checking out your websites, like, not there, and there's no more products to buy and stuff like that. But
we've got products. We did a stock count the other day, and we counted up some t-shirts that we had printed. And how many did you get printed? Oh yeah, 200. I took 2. You took 2. We've sold 2. How have we sold 2? So I think we'll have a bit of an online flash sale at some point.
Fire sale. Get rid of the old gear.
We'll set up an event, because we used to do time attack with stalls and we'd be shooting, which was horrible. Like, it broke us, because we'd drive up from Melbourne, we'd set up, and we'd have to set up the stall and run to the media briefing, and it was always such a big hustle to get that. And that's why we had to share stall space and stuff like that. And with the cost of the stalls, like, it just started to not be worth it. It tripled or quadrupled over 5 years or something like that. So we'll get to some events and sell some merch, but
even all events have put up their prices for stalls, which is crazy. It should be free stalls and, you know, a donation or something. It shouldn't be, especially if not that many people are going to local events.
Make your money off the people coming in, not the vendors. Like, sure, there could be a retaining fee or a holding fee, but not thousands of dollars.
I'm with you guys, man. Like, I think even with the end of month meets, you know, like, when we first got that venue, they were like, oh, so, you know, we want to charge $20 per car or whatever. I'm like, no fucking way. I want it to be like Daikoku Fudo. I want it to be free. I want this to be the whole concept of end of month meet is daikoku. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you can rock up at the end of the last day of the month, and you're probably going to run into some people, you know.
Yeah.
It just be this cool lifestyle thing
Yeah.
that everyone could have, you know. And then they were like $15, and I got them down to 10. And then, you know, we even had people on Facebook, and because that was really loud time on Facebook back then, you know, and people were like, fuck these guys, you know, like $2,000-$3,000, two or 3,000 cars times $10 entry. Look how much money ZEN Garage is making. I'm like, man, we don't make $1.
No.
This all goes straight to management,
Into it,
WSID. And it's like, I don't know, it got toxic back then. It got toxic where you're doing what you know is the right thing. You know you're doing the right thing by the community, and people within the community just started to turn against you for, you know, someone on Facebook was like, fuck, ZEN Garage are ripping everyone off. The stickers cost $1 to make. They're selling them for $5.
Oh,
I'm just like, fucking hell.
Because people harped on us for not charging for events, because back in the, you know, the good days when we had like multiple events, we'd have, you know, 300, 500 people come to these things. It's like, charge $5 entry. You'd be rich. You'd be laughing. It's just, you can't do that. It just doesn't, it ruins it. It definitely ruins it.
I think the people going en masse don't think about these things, you know, like they're just, it's a different generation. Like they're tight with certain things, but they'll go clubbing and spend $8 for a bottle of water. So it's really bizarre. It's like, I don't know. I don't think the education matters anymore. And, you know, who's running it, no one cares.
No.
You know, that kids will go to Time Attack and not know that Ian Baker runs it. And, you know, they go and take. People take now.
Yeah.
They just give me, take. And I think back when we had that scene 10 years ago, there were so many generous people within our scene. Super
100%.
passionate, super happy to share, always happy to share.
Yeah.
Track days weren't about like beating that time. It was more about like, you know, hey, jump in each other's cars and get a different feel for different cars. And you know, and
we used to swap cars and stuff all the time. It was like Gran Turismo days. We were playing PlayStation. It's like, and then we'd jump in real life and like, here, you drive my MR2, you drive my CRX or whatever we had at the time. It was fun.
It's exactly what we used to do.
People don't do that anymore. It's my pride and joy. You don't get in it. Don't touch it. No test drives. No pilots. Blah blah blah.
I've had even last few open track days, I've had people block me from overtaking. I'm like, it's not a race.
No.
Right? Like I just go into the pits afterwards and tell them off, but I don't think I feel any better for telling them off either, because they just don't get it.
No. They don't understand. They've done something wrong, but we get that. But in terms of future stuff, I think because it's 10 years, it feels like shit. We've made it this long. We should probably do something special. So I kind of want to do like Gripshiftslide offline, like unplugged. So I want to do a book, maybe something to celebrate. And like just limited run, like, you know, obviously we don't want to waste a whole bunch of money on it, but just something special. I mean, we'll have extra copies to sell a few, but I think it'd just be good to have for ourselves, and like, especially Grant having a kid, like, you're like, hey, this is what I did for 10 years of my life or longer. And everything's so much more special when you print it. Like, I remember, I think you did like there was a automotive photography book that you did. That was kind of cool. I really enjoyed that because that was like way early days when we were just starting. So I definitely put like 1 or 2 photos in that, and it was cool seeing all these other guys around the country and actually seeing it in a book. It felt special. Yeah, no, books are awesome, man. And now you can do, you know, you can go to Blurb or whatever, and you don't need a publisher, and you can publish on your own. So much easier now than, you know, back then. So I think definitely do that, man. Like I know a few models who have taken their favorite photos from a certain photographer or whatever and made a small book. And it's just, like you said, it's so substantial to actually have this on the shelf or on the coffee table. And, you know, it doesn't have to have ads in it or anything. You can just do it how you like. Yeah. You know, I'm curious how many of these younger guys actually print photos. Because that was the big game changer. Like, I don't know if it's still like this for Grant, but I hated using the term photographer. I still kind of feel awkward saying I'm a photographer. But I guess kind of in some ways I've got things to show for it. So maybe I can use that term, because every young kid jumps along like, I'm a photographer, and they'll have like the initials captures. Like, GM Captures is their Facebook page, and like it's the same stuff. And I don't know that any of them have printed a photo and held it and seen that difference that it gets from a photo that's printed. It's all just on the screen, and I think that changed me when I started seeing stuff printed.
Well, I think that's old school, you know, like I think when you were brought up in a different age, you have the best of both worlds, right? Like when your digital photos are on a screen, they're alive because they're lit up. You know, like some of the best photography exhibitions I've ever been to, the photos have been backlit. So it's like cool. Seeing them on a screen. Yeah. So you're appreciating the photo, but in a very dark gallery, and it's like alive. Like, you know, a lot of the argument is that when you print a photo, you lose that light and you lose it dies sort of thing on paper. Yeah. So there's a huge argument for that too, you know, like print is old school, and ever since 20 years ago, like a lot of designers were already calling it the end of print. And, you know, that's when the internet started to roll in, and, you know, you can see how fucking amazing the screens are on these new iPhones. Like they're just so bright, and they're so, the saturation and the color, it's, you know, it's just makes your photos pop, you know.
I think that happened to me when I was shooting with like a 50mm prime, like 1.4 wide open. It's like, you know, crazy depth of field. And then I saw it on an iMac, and the 4K monitor they had on the iMac at the time just blew me away. I was like, wow, that's what a photo should look like. And then suddenly I was shooting all the time like that. But then you'd look on other monitors, it never looked quite the same. Now everything else is caught up. So you're right, like the iPhone screens are insane, and you really see a lot more in it. And I think, with that shallow depth of field stuff, kind of like your stuff, it makes the difference. It really makes it special.
Dude, it's one of my pet peeves is like when I find out that a photographer is editing photos on a, you know, PC laptop or some shitty old Dell monitor or something. I'm like, man, like I used to have this JPEG that I sent across to PC users that had like, Grant, you would know this, like hex code FFFFFF, right? Just white.
Yeah, white.
And hex code EF. And like that's really light gray.
Yeah.
And like I just have one side of it was EF, the other side was FFF. And they'd be like,
one color.
You send me a blank JPEG, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's gray and white.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, no, you just send me, it's just empty, it's just white JPEG. I'm like, your monitor sucks, bro. You know, like, I mean, you got the best camera gear, but like, fuck, if you're gonna you know, edit photos and really see what you shot, I suppose once upon a time when you had film, you printed shit out, right? And you could tell. Whereas, man, if you're working on a grubby monitor, no wonder so many photos that I see are oversaturated. They've put the vibrance slider all the way up. I'm like,
clarity up.
Yeah, clarity and vibrance.
Clarity and shit. I'm like, God, they must be on like, you know how like some people have iPhones with the best screens, but they set their brightness so low because they don't want their batteries to run out, right?
It makes no sense.
It spins me out, man. It spins me out. But so yeah, a book sounds really good. I'm all for that.
Yeah. So that would be a big thing.
And what about just socials and your websites? I mean, I like this concept that you had earlier of trying to do a website that's different.
Yeah.
We're not sure about the direction of the website because it's hard to get traffic back to it. And it's like...
It's impossible.
Yeah. And it's like sometimes whether the juice is worth the squeeze. Like, do I put all this time and effort into building a website that's different and and then spending so much time redoing all the content to fit the new format? Will people actually turn up to it? You know, have I just wasted all that time, or do I have to pump money into it to get traffic there? But once the money runs out, what happens then? You know, that's the old man in me. That's the problem. I should just really go for it and stop being a sook. But that's what we're dealing with at the moment. But you'd know that, like from...
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we used to make a lot of money with... I think with Zen, we... there was something like $740,000 in a till by the time we shut it. And the bookwork that I got, it must have been at least 50, 60 pages long of that figure. And at the end, 15,000.
Oof.
Like
Gross.
it all disappeared into running a bricks and mortar business.
Yeah.
And that's when we had to pull the plug on the shop, and that's when I went like, I'm not doing this for another year. Like 3 years running. The amount of blood, sweat, and tears I put into that thing to only have 15 grand split between 3 business partners, like 5 grand each, after 3 years of like doing 6 days a week, going into the shop and opening up that fucking shitty old warehouse. And like some days, you know, no one would come in, and then you'd know that day was going to cost you. Like if no one bought anything on a quiet Monday or Tuesday, you'd be like, I just lost 3 grand. And it's just, I don't know, you know, you're having fun sort of on the surface. You have to look like it's all good. But then, you know, like when your business partner comes up to you and goes, at the end of the week, guys, like, you know, if we don't make a couple of grand more by the end of the week, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the side that people don't know about, you know?
Yeah.
No,
but it's the same with product. You invest in a product and you think it's going to work, and then you'll have half dead stock, and you're like, what happened? You know, what did I do wrong? And why didn't I sell that product? You know, why did I spend that money?
I had the other way around, man. We got so big during that period where we were talking to General Pants, and next thing you know, ZEN Garage was going to be in General Pants Co. And we were getting a situation where people were wearing our gear and doing the burnouts at the end of the month meets, and got to a point where I don't think people were buying it because they liked the ethos of the brand. I think they were buying it because everybody else, everybody else was buying it. And
it was probably the early stages of what Illust became, I guess, because that's what Illust sort of happened. Like people just buying it. I had no idea it had a car connotation. It was just
same with Hoonigan.
Yeah, it's cool.
Same with Thrills, you know, like Thrills were these cool dudes that walked into our warehouse space one day and begged us basically to sell some of their gear in the shop. And they were like a small sort of Deus style motorcycle crew in Byron. And I remember years after that, I was at dinner with my family, and my auntie was wearing a Thrills t-shirt. I'm like, where'd you get that? And she goes, General Pants Co. And I'm like, you know what it is? She goes, no, I just like the t-shirt. I'm like, yeah, it's a motorcycle gang in Byron Bay. So, you know, like, I don't know, like, I think I've had so many opportunities my whole life to sell out, but I'm really glad I didn't, you know, like, I think what I'm looking at here is a couple of super talented, could be super more out there, but just like, you know, you guys are grassroots. And
did you realize you're talking to Flume as well next to me? Flume.
What?
Yeah. The guy who does Flume, you know. This.
Yeah. He's heartbroken. So before I picked up a camera, I wrote music and like
and he was good
stuff, did hip hop stuff with guys, which like he was convinced 100% he was going to be writing my coattails of music, and then just stopped one day, and he's never let me down ever since.
I hate talented people that don't use their talent.
But
it really irks me.
But that's the thing, like this is what we're talking about, right? So when you use it and you're using it and you're not marketing it as well as you could be, then not should. Then it's like you got to figure out why sometimes, like
that 3% shift kind of thing.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm okay with super talented people that choose not to be out there and big.
True.
In your case though, I mean, I sound like I'm contradicting myself because I see this great Instagram account that should have another 0 on the end of how many followers you have, right? So I'm a little bit like you, like what you just said, Grant. Like it does annoy me a little bit when I see someone that deserves more. But that's only if they want it, right?
Yeah.
It's only if they want it. So by the sounds of it, it sounds like you guys would not mind at all if, you know, you had more clout like we all used to 10 years ago. If the streams opened up again for us, you guys would probably be happy with that.
Yeah. And I guess, I'm not sure if that's just because we're not video bloggers and we're not doing car meets anymore. So I don't know if it's just a lack of that sort of personality that's missing. Because I think everyone gets behind personalities. Like we were saying before, it was silly to wear an athlete's name and stuff, but then that's the personality they want to follow. And I wonder if maybe we're too far behind the scenes because people never know there's two of us. They never know which one's which. Like at the start, everyone always thought Grant was Gwyn, and now everyone thinks I'm Grant. And it just, it's always very interesting. So I wonder if maybe we need to be more in front of the camera personality wise.
Or should we be putting the same filter on every photo that's like blue and then vlogging and being like, look at us guys, we've got a new car here. Whoa.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I was about to, what you just said then is like, that is what I was going to say. If you want to do it, do that, then you will get more followers.
We've seen the formula, but
yeah. So the algorithm, the formula, and I suppose as we get older, there's more stubbornness and my way or the highway, or like I said, like is whatever makes you sleep better at night. You know, doing a clickbaity title on a YouTube video feels pretty bad, you know. So and I suppose where it's gotten now, if you guys are producing photography that is dynamic and artistic, then you can't expect the masses to understand that part of it. Like the value is like, you know, I can post a boob shot or an ass shot and get way more likes. Yeah. But the comments will be like, I would be doing it to myself. The comments would be tongues and love hearts and oh, you know, so sexy and hot and whatever. Whereas when some people in the creative industry comment on great composition, Justin, I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like they actually can see what I'm trying. Yes. Yeah. But that is always going to be a minority. Always.
Yeah. It's the same with the car stuff. Like everyone's like, oh, that car's fat. That's sick. It's hardly ever like, that's a bad photo or love that shot or best editing ever. Like occasionally it happens and that's pretty special, but it's always, if you're lucky to get a comment, it's about the car. It's about the content, not the composition. But I think as you touched on, like Grant, it's harder because of where we are based in the world. Like I find creative guys who shoot F1 are renowned gods. Like they're talented, like different playing field to us completely. But once you're in F1 and you can be creative in that content, people appreciate it more. If we tried to take some of these F1 style shots with local time attack cars or something, it's missed audience. They don't get it, they don't understand it and don't appreciate it. So I think that's an interesting thing. Like when I went overseas to Japan and stuff, shooting over there, I fell in love with that. And I think that was my problem coming back to here. I'm like, I don't like yellow grass. There's no trees. You can't get creative. Like obviously that's a limitation on yourself because you can, but it does get tough after 10 years of shooting these, big open, boring tracks being beaten by the sun all day.
And it's obviously like with COVID and I mean, no one's been traveling, right?
No, nothing.
I think it's so easy for us automotive people to go to another country, especially if you're talking about Tokyo, and to be blown away by where it all kind of came from. And, that was always a surefire way of being inspired to fuck by the time you come back and you'd be like, shit. I'm ready to go.
Like, I remember the first track was like in Japan was Nikko Circuit, and that was before there was an accident. So you were on the track, no barriers, and so you'd be shooting with like wide angle fish lens, like on the ripple strip, and like watching which drivers come through, like because this driver was gonna probably spin and kill you. This driver was safe, so you can get out there, and it was fine. It was cool. And then another time was like Fuji, and they have shuttle buses on the inside of the track and the outside of the track, and they pick you up and drive you around. And then you come home, we go to Eastern Creek. It's like, oh, fuck. We have to walk all the way around. And we always we're always meant to get one of those golf buggies, but we never do.
Yeah.
But dude, even just walking even walking to turn 2 is long.
It's horrible,
Eastern Creek, right? And even when you're at the F1 in Melbourne, you sort of start walking and you're like, I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere right now.
And when you camped up with these 15 kilo lenses and stuff and multiple camera bodies off you, it's horrible. And now we're old, like your body hurts. Your body hurts. Like after the last time attack, so it would have been 2 years ago, I wanted a bath. I'm a grown man and I just wanted a bath. and you just
Oh, you
can't
got to
get
get you got to get one of those buggies though. That was a lifesaver at Time Attack.
Oh.
Just to get from one corner to another was so good.
Occasionally, you get like a lift with one of the drivers driving
yeah.
past with the buggy, but
Yeah.
nah, we need our own. We need to get on that.
That way we could produce quicker content faster,
Could.
blah, 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 because half the day is spent walking. And then by the time you get back and you're trying to edit and try and post, like you've lost half the time.
Yeah.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And I mean, even with Time Attack not being on, you know, that's kind of like, you know, something different for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like peak lockdown, like we both outside of photography also tend to share the same hobbies. So we've both been getting in like die-cast collectibles and stuff like that. And
I can see behind you guys.
Oh, yeah. So Grant's been building some of that stuff and like 3D printing wheels and all this intense stuff. And I've been getting macro lenses and taking photos of tiny stuff just because what else can we do? We can't get out to these tracks and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been interesting to at least find some of those other sort of hobbies and side things to try and play with. And there's crazy money in that. Who knows? Maybe we'll close Gripshiftslide and start selling like Hot Wheels equivalents and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
that's the thing, right? I mean, you know that there's a business there that's related to whatever it is that you're into. Like you just know it's there. But I think maybe when we were younger, 10 years ago, it didn't hurt at all to try because there was so much traffic that you're most likely going to get whatever it is you're into, whatever it is that you've just launched will most likely have an audience. Whereas now you're right. Like you kick off a new YouTube channel, you might only get 3 views in a week, you know, or it's just, it's difficult now for sure.
Yeah.
So
it's all organic reach. And it's like, how do you get this organic reach? Like the only success stories I've seen were originally New South Wales Police. Their Facebook page was going off, and Iron Chef Imports, like those guys always have crazy interactions with fans and stuff. I don't know what it equates to business-wise. Like, are they getting people importing through them? But it's alive. It's the most alive places I see on Facebook these days, just because they say the right things and they reach their fans the right way, and they're not pushing a product. So it's really interesting to see that. But yeah, I don't know how someone else does that with a product that intentionally you want to say subscribe, you want to say buy my stuff, but also come across organically.
Well, I think you also have to remember though that you guys have a fair amount of experience now, which counts for so much. And like Grant, if you can make your own website, that's already saving you so much money. If somebody else has to hire a web designer, hire a graphic designer, hire a photographer, you know, like sometimes I like to think of starting new things in that way, in that shit, I can do this all by myself. So I'm already saving myself 40 grand straight off the bat. So it makes putting in that 10K a-okay, you know, into starting something. But like I know for sure that if you boost a Facebook post, if I boost a ZEN hoodie post for $50, within 3 minutes, I've already sold a ZEN hoodie. And made that money back.
Yeah. I know you're going to spend money to make money, but it's hard to bankroll yourself, like, because you run out of money.
Fucked. I can't do it. I just, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I don't want to play their game. I don't want to do this. And
I don't know if you experimented with it, but I think when it really throttled down for us, I feel like we experimented with it because they give you bonus credits and they tease you and say, hey, try it out. I feel like once you started that game, they cut you off because they give you a taste and they go, all right, well, you're going to spend it. You can see how good it is. And then our reach after that was worse. Before we'd even attempted to use boosting posts. So it just made no sense.
Well, they're saying that with Instagram business accounts. So if you converted your private account into a business account, so you get stats and all this shit, then instantly you're throttled. Everyone on Google search, everybody is saying that they had hardcore stats of getting like 300 likes per photos the day before they converted to a business account. And as soon as they converted, they'd be getting like 3 likes instead of 300. And then they would convert it back from business to personal and it's forever fucked. So then some people will do tests of like creating a brand new account, posting the exact same photos on 2 accounts, one which is a business one and one which is, and then they'll watch the private one get way more reach and likes than the business one. So it's transparent,
Yeah.
but not. And
you see people trying to get around it. They'll post on their story, new post, check it out. Yeah. And so you'll see it in the story because it'll alert you, and you click on it. And there's ways around it, and you can get creative, but it still just sucks, man. It just hides so much good stuff.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like it's gone. It's like it's pay to play. Yeah. It's like computer games that are pay to play. Like I know a guy who bought on eBay someone's gaming account because they'd beaten the game and gotten everything. And he spent a few grand on this person's account because this guy was such at a high level and stuff. I'm like, that's not gaming. Like,
that's not.
You're meant to start at level 1 and get good at it over time, and and now like all these YouTubers is sponsored by boosting companies. So you give them your login account, they go in and do the content that you can't do, and they get you that weapon, or they get you that armor, and
that's so weird.
People are doing it, man. It's like YouTubers are encouraging it. Like, guys, if you're having trouble with that section in the game, just pay these people and they'll do it for you. And I don't know. It's just we live in a different time now.
Yeah, definitely old, because I still don't understand the concept of watching other people play video games.
Me neither. Yeah, me neither.
Play it like to a level where, like, when people play FIFA, I'm like, go outside and kick a ball. Like, it was almost at that level for me. And now people will watch someone else play FIFA. It's like, no, that's even worse.
Dude, they're giving them money. It's like it's not even girls. Like, I've seen a lot of girls with, like, low crop tops, and they're getting cash and stuff. But then I'll watch, like, on Twitch, I'll see some of the biggest sort of channels at the moment, and I'll just randomly click on one, and you'll see guys, they're just talking shit, playing games, and they're getting like $10, $15, $5, $20, and like, why are you giving this guy money? Like, who are you to give? It's probably not even your money to give. It's probably your parents' money,
mum and dad's credit card. Yeah.
But I just don't get, like, why would you tip someone for playing a computer game? I don't get it. And these guys,
I think it's a personality thing. I think people are starved for real friendship now. So they see this person with a big, persona on the internet, and they're like, I want that person to be my friend. And the closest way I can do that is by giving them money.
Well, they call out your name. That's the thing. So as soon as you donate, these people well, that's their job, right? But they're so good at it. They're like, oh, thank you so much.
Oh my God.
Username this for, thank you so much. You're so generous. I really appreciate it. And it's like, wow, like 90% of their video is just thanking people.
Yeah. Maybe we need to do live streams of photo editing.
Oh, I've seen a bit of that.
I'm going to add some clarity. I'm going to do it.
And you're like, oh, edit my photo. Come on.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think, I went on Twitch the other day, and like, I noticed that it's not about gaming anymore, because I think that's coming and going, and people were one of their most visited sections was called Just Chatting, which is similar to podcasts, right? Where we're just catching up, we're just talking shit, and that seemed to have more viewers than people actually playing games. So I think that's rising. And then there was a creative section as well. So I know that Twitch Australia approached me maybe 3 or 4 years ago now on whether I wouldn't be interested in gaming, but whether I would be interested in showing off some Photoshop stuff, or Photoshop art, or editing, or design, or doing some design work. And so I think they've been trying to branch out from just games.
Okay.
But yeah, like even when I scrolled through our Instagram messages, I realized the last time we messaged was probably 7 years ago. And we talked about a podcast. Like, I think you guys were thinking about doing one back then.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Grant's big on podcasts. He lives and breathes it.
Yeah.
Before Grant, I'd never bothered listening to one, and in our drives up to Time Attack, he's like, here, you got to try this one and this one and this one. And I think he wants to be Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I'm Rogan's boy.
Well, I love Joe Rogan, man. I think it's, like, he's very inquisitive, and because he's so inquisitive, he tends to ask very basic questions, but that leaves a lot of room for his guests to fill in, right? So, maybe you guys can get in front of the camera some more if you're saying people don't know the difference between you both, and it's
I don't
not
know.
just
We're too camera shy, so
we like to be behind it.
I hate being in front of the lens too, but But maybe there's something in that. Like I think
Yeah.
some sort of short YouTube videos where you're actually editing a photo. So you would have some screen capture software on your side, and next time you go out to the track, just press record when you're recording, and then when you're actually editing your photos, and maybe you can slice it up, and maybe you can put some music to it. Hey, fuck.
I might dust off the turntables and keyboard, and who knows.
That's it.
Like even with Easton Chang, man, like I think he used to do so much more bigger work. He used to do the magazine covers, and
I see now he's doing these online lessons and stuff, and pushing it.
Same with Engineered Slide. He's doing the same thing.
Yeah, right. Petrie, with the Horsepower Academy guys. So it's different.
This is what I mean. Like I think Easton's like, well, I could dry up here if I don't watch out, because 1 minute he's on like Australia's Next Top Model, and that's like, fuck, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
And then he's doing some stuff for certain big car manufacturers, but then like, fuck, where do I go from here? So now he's doing like tutorials on using an iPhone, shooting RAW with an iPhone, and then editing that. I'm like, that he's looking for angles. Like, he was in photo mode in Cyberpunk, the computer game, and
I saw that. That was mad.
Yeah, using aperture in there and like getting all technical in there with sliders and stuff. And I'm like, shit, this is looking for angles, looking for algorithms.
I think I feel better about that, or appreciate that more than just that stereotypical photographer preset pack, buy my presets.
Yeah.
We always see the buy my presets. It's like,
so many buy my presets.
Your photos will look like mine if you buy my preset, but it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Like, it just adds more blue.
Yeah.
Ugh. No.
Well, look, whether you guys figure something new out or not, like I'm just glad that the Instagram is still going strong, and I enjoy checking it out. So I can't say that this video is going to be viewed by thousands of people and we're going to get heaps more likes. It's
come on, mate, come on.
Those times are gone, mate. But it's good to have chat. Just to chat to you guys. Like it's been so long.
Change the title to Noriyaru Part 2.
Yeah.
Fuck, he actually that video got a lot of got a lot of views and a lot of comments, and he's got a Twitch channel where he just like teaches people how to learn Japanese and stuff.
Oh, really? That's cool. That is cool.
He's got a lot of.
He's thrifty. He's got hustle. I like it.
He hustles hard, man. Like even when my mates and visited him, like he charged all of us for taking us around and stuff like that. I'm like, that's cool. Like I would have done it for free, but that's why I don't have any money. Whereas he's like, well, fuck, I'm going to charge per head. It's going to cost you this much, and I'm going to take you everywhere.
I don't even watch YouTube videos, and I know all about him. I know everyone watches his stuff, and like, for some long story short version, I ended up winning a Boss coffee vending machine, and I got to put it in my office. And Australia, because of tobacco laws, he doesn't have the pipe on the logo. And I'd made the pipe and paper and black and stuck it on and put it on my personal Facebook page. I don't know how, but Alexi posted it on Noriyaru. It's like, what a lad or something. I don't know how it got to him. And like he tagged me, and I'm like, oh my God, Senpai noticed me. Like, I don't even follow this guy's stuff, and he somehow found me. That was a huge thing. I was like, that's cool.
Well, he is an Aussie.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's what's cool about it. It's like he is just an ordinary dude, man. Like he used to work for Autosalon magazine before he really like just decided, fuck this, I'm gonna do my own thing, and he's cool like that, like he Twitches live from drift events and stuff, and he's got it figured out, man. Like I think he's got it sorted. Like even people in up garages and stuff know who he is. Like when we're hanging out in Japan, the staff know him, and he gets a buzz out of it. Like when these two dudes in the shop recognized him, we walked away from that, and Alexi was, to me, he was like, fuck, it's so fucking cool. They fucking actually knew who I was. And that's what I like about him. Like he's not pig-headed like that at all. He comes across super confident, but he's not egotistical like that. He's like genuinely chuffed that two Japanese dudes working in the shop knew who he was.
Yeah, no, he's the right kind of person to look up to, I think. He's
He's
doing the right
awesome.
things. Yeah,
he's awesome.
For sure.
And even with Hawkins, man, like I had a really good podcast with Hawkins, and I think, I've over the years just heard a lot of people talk shit about him behind his back. I'm like, do you know him though? Like, like the guy, he can come across as abrasive and very sure of himself, but that's his like style, I would say.
But it works. I mean, like we've obviously seen him behind the lenses and stuff. It's him telling his camera guys what he wants and running drift events and barking orders at the drifters.
He's kind of like the Dana White of video. You know,
It's a love hate. It's a love hate thing, right? Like he gets shit done.
Yeah.
But and he might step on some toes to get there, but like fuck, he's pretty black and white about business and stuff like that. You know, he's not like but he's obviously passionate about GTRs and what he does. So but like he's someone that, you know, we could all probably learn a thing or two in terms of like making money and making a business out of it, a sustainable business. Like I think he's been pretty good at that.
Yeah. No, I definitely learned some things from that because it's change from hobby to income. There's a step missing. So.
Yeah, he always rips another hole in me for that. Like whenever I talk about doing it for the love over the money, like he just, you know, he fucking hates that. So, but I understand where he's coming from too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, awesome chatting.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, weekend. Man. Yeah. Appreciate it. And yeah, again, appreciate all the shares we see occasionally on ZEN.
100%.
Dude,
it's good.
I should get to posting as much as you guys do. I could literally just put in my calendar, post a GSS, post a grip shift, fucking photo on Monday every day. But
it's all right. You'll only get 6,000 if you do that, mate. So don't follow our lead.
No, but it's just one of those things, right? Like I think sometimes, I don't know if it's a getting older thing or not, but that consistency is really hard to achieve now.
Oh yeah.
You know, like because you're not like every day gunning. It's like you have those quiet days. You have like, I'm not going to stress myself out. It's not worth it because, you know, I don't know, I don't want to burn out kind of thing, right? Yeah. But then it's like, well, the little Monday morning rant podcast that I do is my sort of therapeutic little 25 minutes of something to do on Monday. Mm-hmm. So hopefully down the line I can expand it to there's something little to do on Tuesday as well, and then something on Wednesday. So, you know, with the with your stuff, like sometimes I'll just see it, I'll like it. That's just so nothing. It's so like, that's what I hate about Instagram and stuff. Like someone's liking it, but like, I mean, some people are so lazy they don't even fucking like it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, even just liking it, I feel so lazy. You know, I should be commenting, but then I'm like, I'm too lazy to. And sometimes with your work, I'll screen grab it because I'm going to post this later.
Yeah.
But then I'll realize like there's like 5 or 6 other screen grabs from other things that I saw that I liked, and I didn't reshare them because
forgot. Yeah.
But
the process just didn't go full circle, you know?
But even comments you can't tell from the bots because it's all just like clapping emojis or like fire and what's real. Like it's so hard to see which ones are real. And I try occasionally, I drop a comment and actually a real comment. And I do occasionally because I'd like to actively like and comment on other people's stuff because, again, I guess good karma, maybe that will come back our way. So, you know.
Other people are doing that, but on purpose. They're following people that they don't even like.
No.
Liking and commenting so that they get another like. And all the Facebook groups are the same, like with the designers groups and the creative groups and the models and hair and makeup groups. They're all like, here's my Instagram, and then everyone in the comments is like, I followed, please follow me back. I've liked and please. And so it's this
currency.
They don't care about who you follow so long as you get another follow back. And
did you see that doco about that where the Indian guy goes around and hassles people for Instagram follows live? He walks up to them and say, please follow me. And they're like, no. And he's like, please follow me. I'm like, no. And he's like, how can I beg on the street and get money, but I can't get a follow? What the hell's going on here?
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's good content, man. I just think some of the more twisted stuff on YouTube is my favorite stuff because it's not on television, right? I mean, I don't have television, but like just seeing these random people who put 1 hour long videos on the rise and fall of some YouTuber or, you know, like they're not celebrities. They're pseudo celebrities who somehow got millions of followers. And then next thing you know, they're breaking up with their girlfriend in public and they're sharing private messages. They're writing love songs against each other. And just, it's all in public and it's all
like Coney 2012.
I watched the doco on that the other day, and the people who piece these docos together are just taking the piss from the start to end. So they're highly entertaining.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're satirical, they're trolly, but I love them. It takes a lot of time to put a video like that together.
Celebrities have changed. YouTubers are the celebrities now. Like my girlfriend and her friends would know these YouTube doco things about who broke up with who, but they won't know which actors in which film. It's a separate world. They can't understand that. It's
you gotta know that if you're like, if you've got that many followers and you somehow think that you're a slave to them and that they deserve an apology video or something, and then you go and make an apology video, you got to understand that there's like going to be so many more people that aren't your fans that are thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Right. Yeah. Like, but it's just so weird. Like you can't ever be a slave to your followers. Like with the girls that I shoot on OnlyFans, like all these creepers are asking for them to do this and that. I'm like, don't do it. Like you do what you want to do on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And you set your limits, but all these people wanting to see more, just like they're not your real fans, Like you're not a slave to them,
No.
So it's scary. Like I think at our age we're okay with that, but put yourself in a 20-year-old's shoes, and your fans are screaming for this.
Easily persuaded.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're making more money too, but then it's like, why are you doing it? Oh, I'm owning it. I'm like, I think they're owning you. I don't think you're owning it. Like, maybe one day you look back at it and go, oh shit.
Yeah, you'll have that
moment. So at least you guys have this squeaky clean. Like everything that you guys have done has been for the right reasons and continues to be, which is super cool.
Thank you.
So wishing you guys all the best and stay in touch. Yeah,
for sure, definitely. Man. And hopefully we can actually like in person talk.
I
don't think it'll be too far away, but I haven't visited Melbourne in a long time, but if there's another time attack, I know you guys will be here. So
yeah, for sure.
I know there's talks about something.
Yeah. I saw Ian Baker was sharing his face mask idea for the shop.
Look at the UFC. They've got a crowd for the first time in a very long time this weekend. So I think if the US can figure shit out with how bad COVID is over there and how relatively safe it is over here, I think we should be okay. Even Hawkins is running the end of month meets now, and he's gone up from 500 cars to like I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 or something like that. So
almost business as usual. Yeah,
exactly. It's getting there. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks to people who are listening, and I will leave links to Grant and Gwyn's stuff below. There's not much links. I mean, there's websites.
Sorry about that. We're gonna get it back.
But at least follow them on Instagram, and guys, I just look forward to seeing where you guys go from here.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Hang on the line, okay?
Will do.
Yeah.
All right, cheers.